Thank you. Evening, everyone. Welcome to our April 10th, 2024 Planning Board meeting. Would you please rise and a pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Steve?
Chairman John Curry.
Here.
Vicky Gannon.
Here.
Nancy Garbino is absent. Jack Mattis.
Here.
Bruce Prince.
Here.
Anthony Sutton.
Here.
And Christopher Zaberto.
Here. Thank you. Just for anybody that's out in the audience tonight, there's going to be no public hearing on the Ross Drive tonight. So if you're here, just saying you can go if you want. And we're making one other change. Item number 6, which is the informal application for the Lawton Adams project, is moving up, and it's going to be number 2 on the agenda. So first on our agenda tonight are the minutes for consideration approval from March 13th, 2024.
I have no objection.
No.
As resubmitted with corrections.
Is that, you want to make a motion for that then?
That would be my motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, so next is our time extension for Granite Point. It's a re-grant of final subdivision approval, steep slopes, tree preservation, stormwater management, erosion sediment control permits. It's a 27th 90-day time extension for the Granite Point subdivision. The dates would be from 2017-10, from April 17, 2024, up to and including July 15th, 2024, as per Town Law, Section 276C, 7C, and Town Code Section 150-13M. For the record, this property is located on the east side of Route 118-202, adjacent to the Amawalk Reservoir, and it's located in an R40 zoning district for the development of 23 lots in a subdivision. Am I reading too much into it? It seems to me like there seems to be less vehicles up there. Are they kind of getting near the end?
Yeah, I stopped out there yesterday. Couldn't get in, they wouldn't let me in, obviously, but I did stop out there and rode around the reservoir. It looks like they're starting to get to finish grade on the lower areas. So I'll get a final update in terms of when they're going to be done, but it looks like they're close.
Good. Any other board member comments or questions?
When you say they, who's they?
That's the DEC is cleaning up that property.
And that's for the remediation that we had discussed the previous.
Yes, taking the lead out of the northern side of the property.
Got it. Thank you.
I make a motion that we approve the extension.
Second?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Next on our agenda is a informal appearance with a sketch plan from Lawton Adams, 260 Route 100. It's an application for proposed new building, 8,455 plus or minus square feet for retail, warehouse, and office use. And for the record, this property is located at 260 Route 100, and it's in the Office and Light Industry zoning district, otherwise known as OLI. Evening.
Good evening, Tim Allen of Bivol Associates. With me tonight is Lawton Adams and the next generation of Jesse and Nick. As most of you know, Lawton Sr. opened the property probably back in the 1940s. Started working on his business out of this property. It's 24 acres off of Route 100, across from Froggy's Deli there. It's probably one of the oldest business and still continuous in Somers. I think of maybe the mobile station and a few others, but Lawton and Lee and Kenny took it over from Lawton Sr. And I've been running the business ever since, basically as it was always run back in the 40s. As the new generation gets here and all the things get computerized in life, it's time to modernize it a little bit. We're proposing a new building right here. The existing building that they run the operations out of are right here. And probably about, 15 years ago or so, the pole barn went up. This board approved the pole barn to the right of the new proposed building. This application does a few things. It number one, provides a new retail office space and much needed warehouse space for the business. Right now, there are storage containers throughout the property and behind the existing shop. So a lot of that gets cleaned up. And now the warehouse will be used for storage of materials and things like that. In addition to what's already stored in the pole barn. Under this plan, we're now going to propose an in and out off of Route 100, which will clear up traffic jams that occur both on Route 100 and on site. It becomes a real nightmare for the staff to maintain traffic and keep the traffic flowing in and out of there on a daily basis. Jesse was just telling me that, he spends a full morning just directing traffic when his time could be utilized somewhere else. This plan also brings it into the current standards of actually weighing the materials. For many years. You'd load a truck and okay, the truck was basically your scale. And it's not a good way of doing business, not knowing the actual tonnage and weight coming in and out of the site. So there'll be a scale on both ends. You come in, they'll be coming in on this entrance, and you ride up on a scale here, and there'll be a scale room inside the building. And then on the way out, you run on the scale and you come out on the outside. That new entrance is partially cut in now. We got a DOT approval about 6 months ago for that. So that entrance is approved by the DOT and it's been partially constructed. It's not being used yet. We don't plan on using that in full until the building is up. The plan also calls for parking for the retail in the front and some additional parking off to the side as overflow parking. That area is chosen, number one, for the easy access to the front of the building, the front door. That's where the retail will be up front. Secondly, from a safety concern, we don't want parking anywhere else on the property because as you get further into the property, it gets busy. Trucks maneuvering in and out and what have you. So essentially, that's the plan. It's really to upgrade a business that has been very successful over the years, but certainly needed a facelift and getting into modern times in terms of just the physical accounting of material in and out and the traffic flow in and out. It's going to be a huge help to the business and certainly more efficient in terms of running the business. We submitted a sketch plan just to get your initial thoughts. And also we were hoping that we can get a site visit. That way we've got everything intact so we can come back in for full site plan. We've received comments from Steve and no problem with those. Certainly we'll get those taken care of through the process. Most of this, I forgot to mention, as you'll see on the site walk, most of this is all on impervious surfaces to begin with. There's a gas filling station there that has to be moved, but otherwise it's basically on impervious area or partially on item 4. So in terms of stormwater, there's not much going on here.
Dave and Steve?
Yeah, no substantive comments. We did issue a comment letter to the applicant just to give them some guidance on next steps and technical information that we would be looking for as part of site plan.
I do have a question,
Yes.
if I may. You have an existing concrete pad with fuel tanks,
Yes,
and you're going to relocate that further into the property.
yes.
I noticed in the drawing that was submitted that the fuel tanks are underground. That's fine, but the fuel pumps for the trucks, I guess, to refuel, are to the wetland side of the structure. What's to protect the wetland from any fuel spill?
I don't know of any wetland there, Jack. We'll check that.
It's not wetland?
No,
Okay,
no, it's just on,
looking at,
being
site-
located to the top of the hill.
okay,
But we'll certainly respond to that.
so there is no risk of any spill.
No,
Uh,
and it's a double walled, container, and it's certainly contained in terms of, what's underground.
okay, thank you.
And would you be looking to relocate the underground tank? Just the above ground,
Both.
that, or would be both?
We're going to above ground tanks.
They're gonna switch to above ground.
They'll all be above ground.
The county prefers that.
Any other board member, questions or concerns? And, what's your feelings on a site walk?
What is Saturday like?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, this is a
Saturday?
pretty large location, right? I think we should
Can't do
decide
Saturday.
soon.
Oh, it's early. On Saturday early.
You can accommodate, if Tony can't make Saturday, you can accommodate another day, meet him there.
Sure.
Yeah. Saturday?
It's good.
I like early too. 8 o'clock? Isn't that what we did last time? Oh, I'm sorry.
Information that you're comfortable with us doing it.
Yeah, they've submitted a sketch plan, and so that'll give the board and us some context to walk it, understand.
Are you okay with Saturday?
Yes, I know it's a busy part of the season. I'm fine. I just want to make sure the applicant is also okay with Saturday, as there's a lot of truck traffic
Earlier
there.
better.
It's busy on,
There's 6.
it is busy on Saturday.
That's,
I don't want to interfere with your business. You know,
Sunday would be a lot quieter.
I myself am fine, absolutely fine.
I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with that, as long as it's early.
Sunday, 8 o'clock?
That's fine.
Sunday, 8. Is
Yeah.
that okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
done.
Okay.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good evening. Next, as I announced at the beginning of the meeting, the applicant is not going to have the public hearing tonight for Ross Drive, but it will be scheduled for our next meeting. The date of that for the public is May 8th, 2024. So moving along. Next is Dish Wireless LLC. It's an application for a special use permit, site plan approval for 115 Route 202 or 87-202, the Lincoln Hall property. Evening.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Chris Quinn. I'm the attorney for the applicant, Dish Wireless. Dish, if you're not familiar, it's a new licensed telecommunications carrier for this marketplace. Effectively, they're treated just the same as any other Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, all those carriers. The property in question, as you mentioned, it's the Lincoln Hall property. We are seeking special use approval as well as site plan approval. What Dish is proposing to do is there's an existing telephone monopole on this property back by the water tank in the, I guess, far back of the property, about 700 feet from the nearest property line. There are 5 carriers already on this pole. The top one is Metro PCS, who, if you know, the industry is previously merged with T-Mobile. So what Dish is proposing to do is to take down the Metro PCS antennas that are at the top slot. There's 6 there now. They'll put up their 3 antennas in its place. There's equipment that's at the base in a 7x5 concrete pad there for Metro PCS. They'll take Metro PCS equipment out. They'll put Dish's equipment cabinet in its place and utilize all the necessary equipment like runs and cables and whatnot for their, and that's effectively the project. So they would be able to provide service to the community in this vicinity for this, utilizing the existing pole, no increase in height, no increase in pretty much anything, just literally almost, in fact, a reduction of antennas from 6 to 3 in the same spot. So that's effectively the project. To kind of give a brief overview, I can point it out to you if you want on the plans. We have our civil engineer who's from Oklahoma, who's actually dialed in for the Zoom if you have a question for him. But I think I kind of, this is one of those where I think my job's pretty easy comparatively to some projects I work on.
Listeners, Steve and David. Steve, could you also explain what code requirements we could waive and why?
Yep. We had two comments for the app on this. The first one is town code does require that a structural analysis include mention of there being a personal inspection of the tower. That's to make sure that the tower is of suitable condition for the structural engineer to approve the use of. So that's part of town code. Our second comment was the town code does not differentiate between a co-location and a new structure, essentially. And so it asks for a number of items as if this were a completely new facility. That includes a map of all other facilities, questions about level of service, roaming agreements that the provider may have, on-site service needs, including frequency of site visits, and a discussion of visual impacts as well. On other co-location projects that are similar in nature to this, where there's no change to the visual screening, there's no new site facilities, there's no excavation work or earth disturbance. The board has discussed and determined whether it sees fit to waive those particular requirements. In our comment letter, that's our comments 2A through 2E. We bring them up because they're part of the code. We want the board to be aware of that in case there's a situation that warrants it.
Board member comments or questions?
Is there a backup generator for this facility?
Not for Dish. Dish uses a battery backup only with respect to its equipment.
And just to reiterate, there is no change to the current footprint of any permanent structures there, concrete pads, no change in height to the pole, no variance is needed, nothing like that. We're co-locate, well, it's technically not a co-location because it's a new install, right?
I think technically it's a co-location, but it's a unique situation though, yes.
Right, I got it. Okay. All right. So
No, they're literally, in fact, I was looking at the plans and when I went out to the property an hour or so ago, I noticed that everything is exactly there. There's a concrete pad already there. I think Dish's equipment actually takes a smaller footprint of a platform that's there than what's there right now. So we'll be, it's a fairly modest build out compared to some of the other carriers.
I'm just curious, how do the battery backups stay charged if you don't have?
Well, when they lose, so typically how it works is that and again, without saying specifically for Dish and the exact model of battery, but in a normal situation, the batteries are charged and the site's running. And then as soon as they lose power, they can run for typically 8 hours or so to provide service. And if there's a long problem, oftentimes there's a generator hookup where they can bring a generator if there was for some reason, the Superstorm Sandy kind of example where carriers might have to bring a generator up there.
Dave, you have any comments? No.
The application is fairly straightforward. Yeah.
How's the board feel?
I mean, I'm personally comfortable with waiving some of the requirements, given that this sounds like a pretty cut and dry co-location for all intents and purposes with no change in footprint. We've seen Dish.
And we don't usually hold public hearings. It's not a new structure, right?
Right.
Well, unlike some of the others that you've had where a carrier is swapping out equipment, this is a new carrier. So I think you need to have the public hearing as a requirement under the code. However, my suggestion would be that if you do schedule the public hearing is to direct staff to prepare a resolution so that we could conclude this meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody feel comfortable with that?
Yes.
Okay. I'll make a motion then that direct staff to prepare a resolution for the next meeting, which we'll also hold a public hearing at the next meeting I'm assuming we're going to open and close it and you'll have a resolution ready for you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have to vote on waiving the code requirements?
Typically have.
Yeah.
Okay, look for some wording here.
So I make a mo- wait,
Right,
vote.
I'd like to make a.
I
Jack,
don't know which
um,
specific ones, but I get.
Make a motion, waive, do we have to read them?
Item 2A through E in our comment.
Okay,
Said.
second,
Aye.
all in favor? That's the one we'll waive. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And with respect to item one, what I talked to Mr. Smith about before was just getting verbiage of what previous carriers have done here and whatnot, so that way I can kind of provide something similar. Okay, I know it's when I read the code, it's like a half sentence blurb, but I just want to make sure we do exactly what you guys need. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you. Next is Somers Commons Site Plan Amendment. The applicant, UB Somers Sub LLC, is proposing to install 2 speed humps in the southern portion of the back access driveway, the Somers Commons Shopping Center, and bring into compliance 2 newly installed speed humps on the eastern side of the back access driveway. Evening.
Good evening, all. My name is Rich Cordone with JMC. I'm here tonight on behalf of UB Somers LLC. We're here to bring to your, to get some approvals from your board. During the course of the construction of the recently approved Tractor Supply project, the applicant put 2 speed humps behind the building, control some of the traffic that was going by there remarkably fast. With discussions with the Fire Prevention Bureau, it was determined that those speed humps that were installed were not correctly installed. So we went through there and we corrected those, adjusted the elevations on those and added some signage to make those comply with their standards. So what we're here tonight is we're here for a site plan amendment to incorporate the addition of those 2 speed humps that are existing behind the new Tractor Supply. And we would also like to add 2 additional speed bumps behind the existing Stop and Shop shopping center, where there's a bit of high traffic area and high speed. We're trying to slow down a little bit. So those are behind this stop. This is the existing Stop and Shop shopping center.
Easy for you to say.
No, right? So we're proposing one of our a speed table over here, which is a speed hump, which will slow down a little bit of the traffic over here on this straightaway. And then the same thing over here. This is where it's going into the Avalon property, close to where we're going into the Avalon.
Okay.
Dave?
So, Mr. Chairman, so this issue was initially brought to our attention. Nancy Garbino was out at the site. So I did follow up with JMC and with Tom Tuma from the Bureau of Fire Prevention, and he essentially gave us the same recounting, and that the Bureau of Fire Prevention had viewed the dimensions and the design of the speed humps, and they're in full agreement with the use and with the placement. And so what we've asked is the applicant just come back so that this site plan amendment is correctly noted on the site plan for further reference. And so as part of the code, you do have the ability to waive a public hearing with respect to this type of amendment. I think it's minor enough.
Mhm.
It certainly is a health and safety issue. So that would be my recommendation at this point for this particular application.
Steve?
Yeah, I agree with that recommendation. And previously, you were here in front of the board, or JMC as the engineer was here in front of the board for the Tractor Supply. And given that these additional speed control devices are not directly connected to that, I just want to make sure that the overall property owner, are you representing them?
Yes, we're
Yes.
here
Make
representing
sure.
the overall property owner.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure
Yep,
that's
understood.
clarified since we started with tractors.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no technical comments on this.
Okay. Board member comments or questions?
Yes, sir.
Could you describe exactly the width and height of these speed bumps, speed humps,
Okay.
the tables?
There are speed humps They're approximately 12 feet from start to finish. The maximum height, it goes up to 4 inches. So they're not, it's a much more gradual up and down than the previous speed bumps that you've,
You have a width of the table? I mean,
The width, it varies. It's about I believe it's about 24 feet in the locations.
and they don't, it doesn't go across both lanes of traffic?
It does go across both lanes of traffic. So each lane of traffic is about 12 feet wide. So we extend about across both perpendicularly to the way of traffic about, it's a total width, a length of 20, width that way of 24 feet. And then from the start to the finish the start of that 12 feet, it starts at nothing and then it gradually works its way up in a parabolic arc.
So it's like a speed table.
Yes, it's very similar to a speed table.
Okay. And are they separated by, you have two, are they separated? What's the distance they're separated by?
They're quite a distance away from each other. We're proposing one over here, which is right by where the loading docks are on this side, and the other speed hump that we're proposing is on the other side where you're going in a north-south direction.
Okay.
These have met the approval of the Fire Prevention Bureau.
They have, we've met with the Fire Bureau, they have okayed the locations of them, and they've also okayed the installation methods.
I've driven over them. They're not a problem in my opinion.
Excellent.
Are they permanent or seasonal? Like
They are permanent.
snow removal?
They're designed for permanent. They are permanent. They're asphalt. They're keyed into the existing pavement. They've milled out approximately 2 inches to start. That way, everything is all joined together. And with the speed hump design versus the speed bump design, it's much more friendly to the snow removal equipment.
Yeah. There's a number of bumps in the shopping center.
There are, and those are from when the site was developed
Right.
20-something years ago.
So they're designed to basically cut you down to about 20 miles an hour, 25,
Yeah,
unlike the ones in some places.
that drop you down to 5.
5.
That's correct. So we're doing what we can to try to keep, make it a little bit safer there.
And I assume you're gonna have signage.
Yes, sir. We do have signage. The signage is in accordance with the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices,
Okay.
MUTCD, where we provide advanced warning signage as well as some striping to indicate.
You're gonna stripe the table.
That is correct. They'll have the stripes and they'll start a little bit. If you see over here, this shows us the striping here where it starts as a smaller hash mark and then it gets larger and it's more of an intense kind of thing for a visual as you get closer to the speed hump.
Steve and Dave, is your recommendation waive a public hearing for something like this? Yeah. Board members?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, direct staff to prepare a resolution. We can open and close it. Public hearing, right?
Well, you don't even have to hold a
Don't
public.
have to, we won't have it then. Okay.
All you're doing is
Prepare a draft resolution for the next meeting.
you could approve
Close
it
it
and you
now.
could just prepare a confirmatory resolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. I appreciate your.
Well, is there
I-
any more comments from the?
Well, no, but
I would
let's-
vote on the,
Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion.
Okay,
To draft a resolution adopting and approving this, correct?
and to waive the public hearing.
And to
Waive
waive a
public
public hearing.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
I just had one follow-up question. I know we spoke about it in the past, about the amount of inventory that's being kind of positioned behind the building. Is that going to be a permanent kind of a thing or?
I don't believe so. Right now, they're still loading the store.
Okay.
So, I believe we got our final the store got its final CO for you'll understand there's a concrete area over here that has a lot of the outside stuff.
Mhm.
And that, just received its CO maybe a month ago. I haven't been by there. Go by, and see what the situation is, but we're under the impression that extra inventory was more of a loading type thing
Right.
and
Yeah, there was a lot of like build out
Yeah, well,
structure.
that's been on the punch list for my office as well as Tom, to get that contractor to clean up his stuff. So understood. All right.
Okay,
Thank you all. I appreciate your time.
thank you.
Good night.
You too.
Can they repurpose the speed bumps from Lincolndale that came out? Put them
As part of this?
as part of this, just trying to be environmental creative.
You're just gonna create more problems.
I don't know, you know me.
I know you, yeah.
Next and last on our agenda is New York State Police Headquarters, 295 Route 100 for subdivision application, a zoning amendment referral to the planning board from the town board. The applicant, which is the town of Somers Fire District, is proposing to subdivide a portion of its property known locally as 295 Route 100 to allow the New York State Police to relocate from their existing local headquarters to an approximate 2.5 acre parcel to be created out of the existing 12 plus or minus acre parcel. The Somers Town Board received a petition from the Planning Department to rezone approximately 9.5 acres of land from Route 1 of R80 to NS, which is negative neighborhood shopping, to accommodate the relocation of the existing New York State Police Headquarters. The Somers Town Board declared its intent to establish itself as the lead agency with regard to proposed action. Just for the record, so you know, is when the town board rezone something, they automatically become the lead agency. That's why, but we will still have site plan approval on this project.
Yeah, so just a quick point of clarification. When the town board issues their notice of intent to act as lead agency, so they're going through a formal process. Ultimately, they're the only board that has the legislative authority to conduct or enact zoning. It's a zoning text amendment. So this is a process that it gives the planning board an opportunity to, there's an automatic referral, but it gives the planning board, your board, an opportunity to review the application and provide the town board with any preliminary comments that you may have before a public hearing is formally scheduled.
State that we do not object to the vacancy, is that a requirement?
It help because it provides direction to the town board to say that we've considered, and you've done this before in the past.
We do that?
And you have no objection.
At a previous
Um,
meeting?
We have it other times, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And Mr. Chairman, you're correct. At some point in time, there will be an application for site plan approval. And part of the reason that the zoning change is being proposed is that the NS, the site plan, the eventual site plan layout has more lot coverage, it's more similar to the NS zoning, which is why the engineer of record had suggested having that property rezoned to NS. As you recall, last year, the town went through a process where they amended the zoning code to allow for municipal facilities, basically within most of the districts within the town of Somers. So this certainly qualifies as a municipal facility, so it's a permitted use under zoning. So there's two things for your consideration tonight. One is there is a formal subdivision application that's before you. So the question, and it's been reviewed by this office. I don't know if Steve's had a chance to review it, but I think it's fairly straightforward. So we would suggest that you schedule a public hearing for your next meeting on
Okay.
a particular application. And then also for your consideration is just a report back to the town board, which I'll do after this meeting, as to whether you have any objections to the town board acting as lead agency, if you have any other additional comments that I could forward to them for their consideration.
Any questions? Otherwise, I'll make a motion that staff prepare a memo stating that we don't, as a board, have any objection to the town board acting as the lead agency.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then we'll schedule a public hearing for the May meeting.
Okay.
Okay?
Second.
The public hearing is for the transfer of the property.
No, it's just for the subdivision. It's
Yeah.
just creating the lot.
Okay,
The transfer of the property is a separate procedure that will occur under its own process. It's not related to, all you're doing, all the the fire district is doing is creating the lot so that the property could be sold or could be transferred at some future date. There's a separate process for that, and that I can certainly provide you with the background as to how that'll work once the subdivision is in place.
So, but the zoning change, if the police headquarters is gonna be on a 2.5 acre, the zoning change is for 9.5 acres?
Correct, right, because at some point in time, it's my understanding that the fire district, and there's a representative for the fire district here tonight, they plan on making their own improvements on the balance of the property. And so the NS district provides for more the ability to have additional impervious surface and lot coverage. Any applicant will have to meet site plan requirements related to stormwater management and site design, grade,
Deep slopes.
steep slopes, all of that, wetlands, anything like that. So that there's no waiver of that. But the zoning was more favorable for these types of uses, and that's why it was suggested that rather than having an applicant come in and then say, oh, you know what, I need a variance for this and I need a variance for that, and
So who currently owns this property? The fire
Fire
district?
department.
Fire district.
Somers Fire District.
Fire department. Okay.
Now, the original proposal that was thrown around and maybe a couple of years ago included a heliport and stuff. Do we know if any of that is going to be in the site?
I don't know at this point. That there's been no formal application for the balance of the property at this point that I'm aware of.
Shake of a head back there.
Yeah, I don't think Somers is big enough for an air rescue unit.
Yeah,
But
Well,
I can answer that.
you want to step up and
Yeah.
get your name, sir? Thank you.
I'll introduce myself. My name is Eric Zohar, and I'm the chairman of the fire district. First year in office, and we're doing everything we can to keep state police in town. The idea is that they get their part and they stay with us, and then in the future, after they move, we can go ahead and start planning building a firehouse there. There is no plans yet because the older plans happened about 12 years ago or so.
Right.
Those went completely off. They're no longer the plans. Now it's a separate thing. State police will be on their own and we will build a firehouse on our own. There will be no helipad in the plan. I don't know if that was in the older plans, but
Yeah.
that's not in the newer plans.
it was in one of the older plans.
Yeah, so that's not gonna happen in the new plan. The new plan is basically to move our headquarters over in the emergency for the town. Emergency headquarters will be right here on 100 next to state police. That is our future plan
From the 139 location
from the 139,
by the school?
from the
Now, your
current, yes, sir.
the land is being transferred to the state police, or do you still own
It is being transferred to the town.
the town?
The original attempt was for us to be holding the land and subdividing that, building it for them with us
Right.
combined, one building, but the state was against it. And it kind of like died away. And a few years ago, we revived the issue because state police was just gonna leave town. So we brought it back on the table.
Yeah.
And we're trying to keep them in place, and we finally reached an agreement with the town. It just happened that the town will take possession of the property and then the town will work directly with the state.
Makes sense. And then once the state is completed with their project, then we can eyeball
Yes,
of Somers Fire.
yeah, so we have time. So they have to put their plans, they have to first build and move so we can actually get that property and we can take down that building.
This-
So that's gonna be a few years down the line.
The state is going to build the building? Who's,
The state is
Hey.
gonna build the building, yes. They're gonna design it and build it.
because originally there
It
was
was supposed to be the fire department building,
building. yeah.
the fire district, yes.
Okay.
That was the original plan, but that didn't work out for the state, so now it's divided, so they're gonna work directly with the town, they're gonna get the property from the town. And they will build their building, and hopefully within a year or so, they can break ground. And within 2-3 years from now, we'll have a new state police barracks there at that 2.5 acres. And after that, 3-4 years down the line, we'll be able to start looking at planning
on building, because we're looking at our own firehouses and our own properties for the next 20, 30, 40 years, what it should look like, where it should be. We're doing our studies. So we're trying to help the town and make sure we save money for the taxpayers. So it's a good plan. So.
But it could be that when the state police present their plans for this building, it could have a helipad behind it. I mean, that would seem to me to make sense.
For state police to do in their plan, I did not see their plan. They didn't propose a plan, but I doubt it. They don't have enough property.
Okay.
The actual 2.5 acres will just give them enough space for their building
Right.
and their parking lots, including their evidence area where they keep stuff. So there's not much for them to do on that property.
Okay.
Usually the fire district, the fire department, when we use a helicopter for an emergency, we lend it according to the right space, whether it's Fireman's Field, the high school, wherever we need to. So we do that according to the incident. Lot,
Yeah, well, we made all our motions, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was just discussion.
Thank you.
yes,
Thank you.
yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
You as well.
Yes, thank you.
For the record, our next meeting is May 8th, 2024. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye,
Thank you. Site walk Sunday, 8 o'clock, Lawton Adams.
not there, you know why? Sunday. No, just kidding. I'll be there.
Yeah.
8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Let me just get.
Don't get up.
Chairman, you guys adjourned?
Yes, adjourn.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Don't get up till 10 o'clock.
15 minutes.
Okay.
Good.